Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Ha'atu, I love you.
Ha'atu.
Bashar, I come with a friend. Her name is Lisa.
Speak up.
I come with a friend. Her name is Lisa.
Yes.
And she was born with a kidney disease, which retained all the water and her body swelled. So she understands she has a negative belief system. So she thought that she was bound by this genetic disease, and also that her parent has it and some of her children has it. And she's asking, can you help her to break through her negative belief so that she can heal her body?
Not without communicating with her privately, directly.
So she should book a private session with you?
If possible. But the idea is that there are others who can help her with this beyond us. Ask her spirit guides for assistance with this idea, since we are not really allowed to interact directly with you with regard to health issues.
Okay, thank you. So my second question, Lisa and I are going to Skinwalker Ranch after this gathering.
Are you sure you want to?
Yes, 100%.
All right.
And we know that there is a ship under the mesa.
Yes,
in
there
the
is,
Skinwalker
a very
Ranch.
ancient one.
Yes. Is any tips or any things you can suggest us to make our physical contact more probable?
No, not at this time. Just go and see what happens.
Okay.
Because it will depend upon your energy as to what opens up in that area for you. Because there are portals in that area. And your energy and your vibration will align with whatever needs to happen for you. But yes, there is an ancient ship buried in the mesa. It is still active and still giving off vibrations that help stabilize the portals in the area.
So we intended to do a meditation on the Skinwalker Ranch. Is any suggestion that you will suggest us to do? Which kind of meditation?
No, I just said go and see what kind of energy you bring. The intention you have going in will determine what opens for you.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm from Canada. So, yeah. Hey. So the question we have, I have two spiritual teachers, big prediction, telling us that Trump will win and we are going to migrate to moon, migrate to Mars. I have a spiritual teacher on the other side told me, Camilla's going to win and with the open contact and we're going a better earth. So I'm very happy because no matter who wins, I will have a better world. So my question to you is, how does the upcoming election impact especially the humanity and especially Canada?
One moment. We are checking something. Because generally speaking, we are not really allowed to comment deeply on your politics. But since things are changing somewhat in the near future, we are checking to see what we are allowed to say. I cannot give you specifics about the country of Canada. I am allowed to give you some very general specifics about the election in the United States. However, there must be caveats with this, since we are normally not allowed to comment on such things. There are certain things we can say, but if we say them, because it is your world, are you willing to take responsibility for the responses of your population to what we are about to say? And before you answer, think carefully about what that means. Are you willing to take responsibility for what we are about to say? Be sure the answer is yes.
Yes.
All right. This is what we are allowed to say. The female will lead to open contact. Do I need to say more?
No.
Are you willing to take responsibility for the information?
Yes.
The male will lead to the termination of the United States and World War III. End of comment.
Okay, my last question, Bashar. Is this okay or I should go? Okay, so my last question. When you're talking about the 5 years, within 5 years having open contact, and what are we preparing to do? So in my mind, actually, I've been willing to hopefully set up a center, a training center for my hyper children, as I have many of them, to teach them.
Then follow your passion and see what happens.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ha'atu, love you.
Understand that what we have been allowed to do here today is highly unusual and only indicative of the fact that you are closer to contact than you were before. One moment. Open your hearts, open your eyes, open your minds, and you will know the path before you that is toward us. This has been a public service announcement. You will not know who that was until later. But we have introduced them already last night of your time. Next.
Greetings, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Such a pleasure and amazing to be here with you today after feeling like I've been calibrating with you for a long time.
All right, it is our passion and our pleasure as well.
Thank you.
What would you like to discuss?
So I've been, throughout my years, visited many times, seen and been visited by different crafts, but there hasn't been a pattern. Each one seems to be very unique in its lights and colors. My question is can you tell me maybe which race I'm more connected with or my energy is more dominant with?
Well, you are connected to Pleiadians and hybrids. There's a few smatterings of others as well.
Syrians?
Some, yes.
Okay, so that was the first question. Is there one that I could maybe potentially connect with more on a deeper level that you feel?
If you will participate in what we talked about that you call CE5s, you understand this term?
No.
Going out with groups to certain areas and opening up communication, shining lights, and getting answers from ships that will appear and give you responses and things like that. That is the idea of close encounters of the fifth kind, CE5s. If you will participate in gatherings or create your own gatherings to do so, this can help open up avenues of communication and connection for you to those to whom you are most strongly connected.
Thank you. I'll definitely try that out.
All right.
On a Another question is going to be more personal to me. I think the easiest way to frame this would be a three-part question.
Is that a sneaky way of asking three questions?
No, it's one concept, but with three different elements that are all connected. This has been a deep fear of mine for a long time. The first one is snakes.
Snakes?
Snakes. Since I was a child, I've had sort of like a primal fear of them. In many ways, I feel like I was harmed by them.
No. But the idea is that it connects to the symbol of ancient wisdom, and it connects to the symbol of genetic alteration, because you're part of the hybrid program. And it connects to certain species that give off a certain frequency and a certain energy that allows you to feel that you need to go into survival mode when exposed to it.
So this leads to the reptilians, which I would like to have more perspective from you on, because it ignites fear within me.
I understand. They're not necessarily malicious, but they don't necessarily have, shall we say, humanity's best interests as their highest agenda, but they are kept in check by the other species that do. So they will not ultimately be capable of slowing you down or harming you. It's just that they're on another path, on another course, and they're not really engaged in the idea of the promotion of the evolution of humanity. So any exposure to them simply invokes within the physical form the idea of a fight or flight survival response, because the reptilian vibrational DNA activates the mammalian vibrational DNA in your physical body as the relationship of predator to prey.
Yes.
Doesn't mean they're actually going to be predators for you, but that's the way you respond to their vibration. To some degree, they actually are, well, I'll just put it this way. They're kind of hurt by that.
They are hurt?
They are hurt emotionally by that, by your reaction to them, and therefore they have a kind of resentment against humanity. Because they are seen by humanity's eyes as outcasts. And therefore, they remain in a place where they may not necessarily have your best interests at heart, but the others that do keep them in check and help keep them balanced and at bay, so that they will not interfere with the progression of humanity's evolution. But there is nothing really to fear. They cannot harm you.
A lot of people seem to think that they're connected to the royal lineages on Earth, and they seem to control...
No. That's a fallacy. It is a fantasy. It is a throwback to the idea of the ancient Anunnaki, who did create the idea of the blue blood royal bloodlines. That is simply another way of expressing that the Anunnaki DNA may be slightly more pure in certain lineages on Earth. That's what that's about. But some humans that are involved in conspiracy theories have confused and commingled various conspiracy ideas into the idea that the reptilians are involved in that, simply because of their attitude toward humanity that you are intuitively picking up on. So they've commingled different conspiracy theories, which is one of the reasons why the first step in the Interstellar Alliance social experiment was to let go of conspiracy theories.
So if the Anunnaki are our parents, or don't we have their genetic...
yes.
Aren't we a hybrid of Anunnaki and
As
the Sasquatch?
I said, you are hybrids to begin with as Homo sapiens. That's why you're already hybridized, because of the Anunnaki genetics that were introduced into the naturally evolved hominid on Earth.
But wouldn't then the Anunnaki come and guide us?
They did. What do you think some of the stories in the Bible are about?
Okay.
Of angels coming down to guide you, of being led through the desert by a pillar of fire and a pillar of cloud. What do you think that's about? It's about the guidance of the Anunnaki, who recalled those who created Homo sapiens because that was against their law to do so. but they then realized that they had to take responsibility for guiding you up to a certain point until they felt that they could let you sort of evolve on your own to see what would happen.
Do you think that though they will return after
They have evolved in a certain way that they are no longer the Anunnaki you knew hundreds of thousands of years ago. Some of them have evolved into what you will now experience as the Pleiadians.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful, and I needed that.
All right.
On a separate note, something...
Oh, another question you've snuck in.
Well, if it's only one more, then I will curb it to... Everyone seems to be talking about the solar flares and how that activates...
Don't worry about it.
All right.
Don't worry about it.
I won't worry about it.
Thank you.
I'll just ask the last one.
Sorry, your card has been punched.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I am nervous. I almost chickened out and didn't come up here, but here I am.
All right, here you are.
Here I am. Last night during the meditation, it came to me that to ask you that are we all just dreaming each other, meaning humans dreaming the other races and the races dreaming us in this grand big story?
Would you repeat that?
Yes. The other races that will be coming to us,
Yes.
are they not dreaming us and we dreaming them in one great big dream?
Yes, of course. From that level, of course. It's
So-
all a dream.
May I ask, when does a dream become reality, or does it ever, and when does reality become a dream, or are they two very separate things?
It depends on what you mean by dream. It depends on what level you're looking at it from. Obviously, there is all that is, what you call the source, the one. In a sense, everything is a dream of the one, but the dreams of the one are what reality is. That's what you call reality, the dreams of the one. The infinite dreams of all that is what you experience as aspects and reflections of the one as reality. Does that make sense?
I need to think about that, but yeah, I think you did answer my question. Thank you.
Anything else?
Yes, passion.
Yes?
I have this idea that passion feels joyous and great and exciting, and that hasn't been my experience.
It doesn't have to. Sometimes passion can be a perfectly balanced sense of peace and relaxation. When we talk about the idea of passion, that doesn't mean, as we say, you have to be jumping up and down and running around with your hair on fire. It means you are simply in alignment and in the flow of who you truly are. And that can be expressed in any number of ways, as long as it allows you to feel that you are yourself. That's what we really mean by passion. Passion is the body's physical translation of communication, messages from your soul, from the higher mind. It communicates in an energy language that your body translates as this sensation called passion, which more often than not is really just about the idea of a focus of something you really love to do. And that can be expressed in any number of ways. So taking action on your passion is the response to the soul, I heard you. And it begins the dialogue so the soul can send you more opportunities to act on your passion. But no, it doesn't mean you have to be running around like crazy. It doesn't mean you have to be jumping up and down with joy every single minute. It means you simply have a sense of your flow, a sense of your purpose, a sense of who you are, and it can be done in a very effortless, straightforward, and peaceful, centered, and balanced way as well. That can be an expression of your passion. Does that help?
Yes, thank you. Last question.
Yes?
Is a second question from a question that was asked yesterday, the mathematician that had his friend ask the question, so he snuck in again.
Yes.
The question has to do with teleportation.
Yes.
And the question is, can you describe an experiment to see gravity and electromagnetism as related?
Yes, we have already given you that experiment. We'll describe it again briefly. It is the idea that objects that exist in a particular location are not objects in a location. The location exists in the object. Every object can be considered an energy equation. And one of the variables in that energy equation is the variable that represents its location in space-time. If you change that space-time locational variable frequency, you actually change the location of the object in space and time. That's how our ships travel from star to star, is we have isolated the ship, unlocked it from any particular universal reality in a limbo state, and then we impose the vibrational frequency that represents the frequency of the location we wish to go to, and the ship must stop existing at the first location and automatically start existing at the second location without traveling in between, because everything holographically is here and now, and all we're doing is changing the perspective, the angle of observation of the locational variable of that ship and its crew in space-time, which is an illusion. Is this making some sense?
Not to me, but hopefully to him.
All right, but this connects the idea of gravity and electromagnetism and so on and so forth. I'll put it another way. Imagine a Fibonacci spiral. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
All right. So imagine a counter Fibonacci spiral going the other way and overlapping the first one. Can you imagine that?
Yes.
Now imagine that what I'm describing is a simple two-dimensional version of something that is actually very multidimensional. So it would go in all sorts of directions, but for simplicity's sake, just imagine that double spiral, all right? Mm-hmm. There are places where then the spiral, one spiral, crosses the other spiral, correct? Mm-hmm. And it does so because it is a spiral at farther and farther and farther distances, correct?
You are.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we call those nodal points, all right? Those nodal points, depending upon exactly how they cross the other spiral and how many iterations of that crossing there are, actually create the different effects you call gravity, electromagnetism, strong nuclear force, weak nuclear force, dark matter, dark energy, so on and so forth. It is that particular structure that can explain the relationship between all the different so-called forces that you experience in your physical universe and show the connection between them all by understanding them as different concentrations of nodal points of a fundamental concept that contains a field of consciousness. So if consciousness as a field is allowed into the equations of your quantum mechanics, you will understand more clearly the idea of the relationship of gravity to electromagnetism and so forth. Now, relatively recently, there actually has been the creation of a new mathematical equation that does allow gravity and quantum mechanics to be combined. And that is the correct direction to go in. But it still must include the understanding of how to quantify and create mathematical representations or geometric representations of the field of consciousness out of which everything is created. And once you include that into your equations, you will understand the relationship. But starting with that Fibonacci double spiral can be a skeleton upon which you can build a deeper understanding of the multidimensional nature of all of those relationships to each other. Will that help?
Somebody, yes. My brain hurts.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much, Bashar.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Okay. First of all, I want to say thank you for last night and the meditation. The visualization that you gave was super helpful to me because I have a fear of open contact. So
why do you have a fear?
I think it's because the concept of it is relatively new to me. Like, I didn't even allow myself to think about it until a few years ago.
Well, do I scare you?
No,
Well, why not? I'm part of Open Contact.
no. And yeah, so it helped.
Don't rush ahead. Why don't I scare you?
I guess maybe it's because I can relate to you.
And what makes you think you can't relate to the others who will come through Open Contact?
Well, honestly, it's the way they look. I mean,
The
I know
way they
that's-
look.
It's scary to me.
Oh, scary. Are you afraid of animals?
No.
Don't they look very different from you?
Yes. I know.
Well,
it
why
doesn't
aren't
make
you
sense.
afraid of them?
I guess I'm used to them.
You're used to them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you can get used to us?
Yes,
And then you won't be scared?
absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
So you understand it will not happen faster than you can handle.
Right?
Yes?
Yes.
Because what would be the point of that?
Correct.
Above and beyond all, Open Contact is logical. We understand what you can handle. We understand that it makes no sense to give you more than you can handle. The process is in your hands. We're taking our cue from you and the pace you say you can handle. We're not forcing anything on you at all. So even though we gave you that exercise, the fact that it is just an exercise is what allows you to decide at what rate, at what pace you can handle it. One moment. Nania. The channel's body needs hydration. Thank you, Nania. Oh, yes, thank you. I'm fine. Would you like to continue?
I would, yes, thank you. Okay, so my question...
Did that freak you out?
No. It didn't. Oh my gosh, okay. So my question is, okay, so when you talk about the shifting to the new earth, and those that follow the formula and have broadened their bandwidth, have the opportunity to make that shift.
But you're shifting now.
Yes. But this is my question. So it feels similar to the story of the second coming of Christ in the Bible.
Yes, well, the idea of the second coming is actually the awakening of the Christ consciousness in every single individual.
Okay.
It's not about the coming of a single person.
Okay.
It's about the same thing as opening up to the Buddha nature, the Krishna spirit. Same idea. It's allowing you to be who you truly are as a full soul.
Great. Okay, that's good. So that's what I was thinking too, so I appreciate that.
Oh, all right. Thank you for your synchronicity.
Sure. And then I just want another quick question so other people have a chance, but why do humans experience time in a linear fashion?
Because that's what allows you to experience growth, discovery, and change. In a timeless state, there's no change. There's no growth.
Okay.
So it's the way in which existence allows you to experience the process of change, so you have a deep appreciation that allows you to learn lessons and discover something new, because the structure of existence never changes. It's your relationship to it, your experience of it, and your perspective of it that does change, and that's how creation expands. Make sense?
Yes. Thank you very much.
You are very welcome.
I have a question. Cosmic beings communicate telepathically, right?
I thought you said you had an interpreter.
I'm going to translate what you say.
Yeah.
So she tried to speak her own
yeah.
words in English.
Yeah.
Try to.
Do you understand when I am about to say in Japanese? 私たちがお互いの言語を使わずに意思疎通するにはどうすればいいですか?
Interpreter.
Okay.
That's your cue.
Okay.
Remember, I am not speaking any language at all.
Sure. The
I am
question
simply
was,
sending thoughts that are translating into the language that the channel was raised to understand.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to translate that to her, but the question was, will you be able to understand what she's going to say in Japanese by telepathy? But you already answered that question right now, so I'm going to explain.
Some beings will, yes. And in the telepathic contact, you may hear them in your head in your own language.
Oh, okay.
But that's not what's happening here.
Okay.
言語で
わかりますか?
バシャル
One
は、
moment.
そのダリルを通じて
Yeah.
翻訳してるから、この日本語で聞かれてもわかりませんよと。
Okay. During channeling, even when the channeler is not conscious, does the channeler's language ability limit what can be understood?
We do not understand what you said.
Okay.
Allow the interpreter to do his work.
Okay.
Yeah.
どれ
だから、チャネラーの
これでしょ
こう意識がない。いや。
こっちね。チャネラーに意識がなくてもチャネラーの
No conscious.
理解できる内容が。Okay, so during the channeling, Darryl has basically out of the regular consciousness level, and so, but
The channel has consciousness, it's just not focused in his normal way.
right.
Oh, okay.
And I think go back to the reply that you already gave us, but the understanding by you, Bashar, is limited or controlled by the language level or the information level understanding of the channel himself, or does it surpasses the capability of channel?
The information can surpass the channel's knowledge, but very rarely does the language surpass the channel's vocabulary, because we use the channel's vocabulary as a translation device to translate our thoughts into your language, at least one language that the channel understands. On rare occasions, we can supersede the language, but it's very rare because the channel was simply not brought up to understand other languages. So that's the limitation of the translation device that the channel functions as, but it's one of the reasons why the channel was encouraged to have a very large vocabulary even as a child, because that's the path the soul chose, so that even at 1.5, the channel was reading at an adult level.
Okay, that's clear. Thank you. Okay. I guess you understand
Okay, I
what you
see.
said, so
Yes.
just gonna skip the translation.
What are some important tips to remind people on Earth to communicate telepathically?
Again, you have to be in love. You have to be on the same wavelength.
Okay.
It's love that does it. Those that are in love know what each other are thinking because you're having the same thoughts at the same time. Remember, telepathy is not reading each other's mind. It's reading your own mind, but you know you're having the same thoughts as someone else who's on the same wavelength.
Okay, I see. And another question.
Okay.
Yes?
Another question.
Maybe she doesn't need my translation.
Yeah.
She got it.
Okay.
All right.
I
Will that
read-
do?
And more another question.
Yes.
I read the book in Japan. The book said Bashar is Ashtar. Ashtar is the captain of Interstellar Alliance.
We do not
you...
understand what you are saying. Please use the translator.
Okay.
Okay.
I see.
All right, so she read the book in Japan, and the book said that Bashar is actually the Ashtar.
No.
okay, that's what I
That
thought.
is
but-
incorrect.
She wanted to ask that question to make sure that you get the,
Yes.
she get the answer from you.
That is not correct.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Will that do?
Last,
大丈夫ですか?
大丈夫です。Last question. Yeah, last. Really last. Is there Ashtar or members of Interstellar Alliance in the audience as well? Audience.
Members of the Interstellar Alliance in what?
Audience. In the audience. Huh? Yes.
Okay, are there or is there Ashtar or the member of Interstellar Alliance in the audience right now?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Yes. So I haven't really known you that long. It was just last March that I came here and listened to your transmission. And I've been following the formula really, really seriously and listening to a lot of your transmissions.
All right.
And loving it.
All right.
And I'm noticing in my mind that I get this like Swiss cheese mind, and I'm not sure if it's part of the evolution of my brain shifting, toxicities and or other things, and I'm wondering what your
Well, what are you
perception-
describing as a Swiss cheese mind?
That I will have thoughts, and then all of a sudden they disappear, and I have to wait for them to come back.
Yes, sometimes this can be a symptom of understanding that memory is actually created in the moment. In my civilization, we don't have a memory as you understand it. We simply know that we will know what we need to know when we need to know it, not a moment sooner, but not a moment later. Living completely and utterly in the present can simply cause that symptom to start happening until you get used to the idea that you will simply know what you need to know in perfect timing and won't need to retain it as a memory.
Okay, thank you. The other thing is, am I part of the hybrid project?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to give you all a little bit of a hint.
That we all are, since we're here and love this.
If you have found us, you are probably involved in the hybrid program in some way, shape, or form. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't be having these conversations.
And do I have the hybrid children?
It doesn't always mean that your genetics was used to create hybrid children, but it might mean your energy patterns were used as a kind of a template upon which to build the hybrid children. It may mean that you are involved in helping to teach the hybrid children how to acclimate to Earth society in certain ways, because you are very foreign to them and they don't understand how things work on Earth. So there may be many ways in which you may be involved in helping the hybrid children understand where they are coming to live.
All right. Were my nightmares as a child part of that?
Yes,
Okay.
because you didn't understand what was happening.
Right, okay. Thank you.
No, you're welcome.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Thank you. It is a good day. I was curious when you said you were checking with people. Who are you checking with when you need to see if an answer can be given?
Many different beings. Councils, other beings that are observing Earth, beings that are in contact with the collective consciousness of your world to let us know what it is that's appropriate to say and what it is that might interfere with your particular path of evolution, so that we do not overstep our bounds.
So there's hundreds or thousands?
Thousands.
Great. No pressure. Got it. Okay, so I just found you like maybe 6-8 months ago. I really appreciate your teachings. One of your transmissions that's really helped me is letting go of limiting beliefs.
Yes?
I've been working through that quite a bit.
Oh, all right. How exciting.
Yes, it sure has been. And also Willa's teachings.
Yes.
Is she around?
Well, she is always around and accessible, even though it may or may not be appropriate for her to come through at any given moment.
So would she be listening right now?
She is aware of what is going on.
That's so cool.
It's whatever temperature you want it to be.
So our meditation last night was quite enlightening.
Yes.
I was curious if your spaceship is over us or was over us last night.
Well, it is over Bell Rock, as it has been for quite some time from your point of view.
Oh, cool. Did you see me wave at you the other night?
Let us put it this way. We felt the energy waves from all of you.
Awesome. So one of my greatest passions is working with animals.
Oh, all right.
Animal rescues specifically.
Yes.
I don't know why I'm emotional all of a sudden. A lot of my animals, they tend to get symptoms that aren't explainable.
Well, they are explainable if you understand them as reflections of the different things that humanity needs to look at within itself. Because one of the most unconditionally loving things that animals are here to do is reflect to humanity the things they need to clear out within themselves. So if you understand that they may be representative of different things that humanity needs to look at within its collective or individual society members, then you may understand what it is they are reflecting and what it is they may allow you to discover or go through that may eliminate the idea of those conditions in the future.
Okay, so when vets can't figure it out, when they don't respond to treatments in textbooks ways, they could heal themselves just kind of miraculously.
It is possible, but again, if you cannot find the reason for what's going on, you may have to look deeper for the reason, into your psyches, into your emotions, into your belief systems. It may not be solvable by standard surface medical approaches. You may have to look deeper within.
How would you suggest I do that in my life with my
By
animals?
having honest self-investigation. It may not necessarily even always be representative of you. Just because you're interacting with them doesn't mean they're reflecting something to you personally. Sometimes they may, but sometimes they may be reflecting things that are about humanity in general. And therefore, it's giving you an opportunity to understand all the different things that humanity itself needs to look at within itself, and you can be of assistance in perhaps bringing that to the attention of humanity as to what those things represent that they need to look at.
That feels really big.
Well, yes, it is, but not bigger than you can handle, because
Okay.
you're really big too.
Okay. So I have felt a little bit held back with all of that.
Because?
I feel that I need to be there for them,
Beware.
be at home with my animals.
Yes?
This is the first trip I've taken in 9 years.
All right, but understand that they understand what you're doing.
They do.
Yes, of course they do. They're intelligent beings.
Yes, they really are.
Yes, I know. That's why I said it. Do you understand that they chose to be with you?
I needed to hear that.
They don't make mistakes about who they're with. The animals choose to be with you all. So if they're with you, they understand the work you're doing. And they understand that sometimes you may need to go on trips. Don't worry about it. Love them as best you can, as unconditionally as you can, and let them reflect to you what it is they need to reflect to you. But understand they chose to be with you. They will allow you to do what you need to do. They know what you're doing is benefiting all of them.
Thank you for saying that.
Of course.
Because I often feel,
Guilty?
no, I feel like people judge me.
So guilty.
Is that the same?
Well, taking on the judgments of others means you're judging yourself to be guilty of something. Okay. Otherwise, why would you accept their judgments against you if you know they're not true? In the same way that if a stranger came up to you on the street and said, "You're a bad person," you would go, "Well, that makes no sense because you don't even know who I am, so why should I pay attention? That's just your issue."
Right.
So just because you may know the people who are judging you why should you take what they're judging you about to heart unless you're judging yourself for the same things and finding yourself to be guilty?
A limiting belief that I need to get rid of.
There you go.
Got it.
Because how does it serve you? Because you don't hold on to things that don't serve you.
Yes.
Remember, sometimes people that act like victims remain victims because they use victimhood to get what they want. Therefore, they believe being a victim serves them.
Right.
And therefore?
Well, I'm here, so.
Yes. But just because you're here doesn't mean you have to change. That's in your hands.
Right.
So it's up to you to decide whether or not you have reached a point where you are sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yep.
All right.
May I
Yes.
ask a question about frequency and vibration?
You may ask anything you wish.
Thank you. So I Googled it, and it said that those are two different things, but I
Yes.
feel like in this context, those two terms are used interchangeably.
It can be. It depends on the context here. But again, the idea is that vibration is just an undulation. Frequency is a measured undulation of a particular vibration relative to a certain point in space and time in terms of when it passes that particular point and how many times per a measured time it does so. So one is a little bit more technical about the pace of a vibration relative to a certain fixed point in space and time, and the other is just a general term of things that are undulating
Thank you.
at any particular given rate.
And it seems as though when we talk about high vibration, high frequency versus low vibration, low frequency,
Yes.
there's a positive with the high and a negative connotation with the low.
Yes, often that's the case.
Well, going back to animals and our companion animals like cats, they purr at a lower frequency, and that's
That's
known
not
to...
the same thing.
Can you clarify it for me?
There are different kinds of resonant frequencies that mean different things in different contexts. Certain physical frequencies have nothing to do with the frequencies that we often talk about. In fact, sometimes the frequencies that we refer to in humanity are things that your science doesn't even know anything about yet. We're just giving you a general barometer of where someone may be on their journey in terms of whether or not they're operating in flow with themselves or operating in resistance to themselves. So the idea of the way we often use frequency relating to a human being is just a very general barometer of how they're doing. And it's not necessarily as specific frequencies in physical reality that may be caused by certain functions within animals or other phenomena.
I see. Thank you.
So we understand that language is limited, and sometimes it does require clarification and a context to understand what we are referring to. So thank you for being willing to ask questions that help us clarify those ideas.
Thank you. And I was just wondering, besides our clear budding friendship, do I have like a personal relationship with extraterrestrials?
I wonder what that answer could possibly be. Are you capable of answering the question for us?
Sure.
Is that sure you're willing to answer it, or sure you have the relationship with extraterrestrials?
Ooh, I guess I'm not sure, and that's why I'm asking.
Why wouldn't you be sure? You're talking to an extraterrestrial.
Right. What about the others?
What about the other whats?
Extraterrestrials? Or is it just a me and you thing?
Oh, you flatterer. Every human has connections to some degree with extraterrestrials. Pleiadians, Arcturus energy, hybrids, greys, Sirius beings, mantis beings, and several others that we're not necessarily allowed to talk about yet, but will arrive in the near future. Now, the idea is that not anyone that actually has those general connections energetically necessarily has a lot of extraterrestrial encounters on the path in life. It may not be that important for them to interact with that extraterrestrial energy, even though you all have those general connections. So the real question is, are you involved with extraterrestrials in more than a passing way in your particular life path?
That's a good question.
Well,
What's the
thank you.
answer?
The answer is yes, you are.
Cool. I love
Oh,
that.
there's that temperature again.
No. Are there any animals in particular on Earth, that I could serve better?
Well, better how?
Providing them sanctuary?
Cats?
How did you know?
Oh, good guess.
Particularly, why cats?
Because they can see into other dimensions and they'll tell you a lot about what it is they see.
Thank you.
And there's one of them speaking up now.
Probably.
Plus, their purr vibrations are very healing.
Yes, indeed they are. Do you have cats where you come from?
We don't have pets. We have many interactions with animals, but we don't have pets in the way that humans classically think of having pets. Animals interact with us all the time, but we don't look at them as pets.
I guess I don't either.
All right. Then you really are operating as an ET.
Cool. All right. Thank you so much, Bashar.
You are
and
so
everyone
welcome.
else. I love you.
Hello, Bashar.
Good day, good day.
I'm so excited to be here, and I'm so grateful for everybody here. Also, the volunteer team that I'm a part of. It's just been such an amazing experience. So, thank you guys so much. Woo! And always, thank you for your service. You have been so instrumental in my healing, and I want to give you just a little bit of my backstory in terms of like the limitations that I have lived in, like through my own creation. Yes, I was born in a dense reality with a lot of abuse, and then I was addicted to heavy drugs, not the good psychedelic kinds, but
Sounds exciting.
Yes, for like 6 years, and then eventually I got sick and tired of being sick and tired, and so there came a point where I was like, okay, we have to do something different. And so today we're going on almost 5 years clean. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, what did you say? 5 years?
Yeah, what's 5 years?
How synchronous.
Woo! I just got it. That's what I'm talking about. And, back when I was on drugs, I was in and out of the justice system as a defendant, as a jailer, and I became a jailhouse lawyer. And now, guys, I'm in law school, and I actually left law school to come here because this is my highest, law school is my passion, and being able to bring consciousness into a field that so desperately needs it, it's just part of my passion because I see how a lot of people are crumbling at the seams of their beliefs and how it shows up in our behaviors.
Yes.
And so it's really cool, being in this space, and I'm like, I'm gonna go to law school because why not? And so this is part of my joy, and this also will bring up the topic that I really want to talk about in terms of plant medicine, because Mama Aya has been such a powerful teacher. I want to be the ayahuasca lawyer, okay? I don't know how I'm gonna bring it into the system, but I realized that could be a really cool program to implement for defendants, essentially, is to be able to bridge that gap. That'd be really cool, but...
Yes, do you have a question?
Yes, I do, and we're getting there. So Mama Aya told me in one of my sessions, because I'm also apprenticing under a shaman, about positive beliefs and releasing that too. And I have released a lot of negative beliefs, and I love finding beliefs. Kind of like, oh, cool, something to release. But she also was saying how there's, to some degree, healing modalities here on Earth could be boggling us down from really diving deep in that New Age spirituality. And this is not to invalidate anything, but New Age spirituality can kind of create that spiritual bypassing. And I wanted to know your take on New Age spirituality and how it can actually bypass the inner work that needs to be done in order to heal. Because as a transformational life coach, I see this with my clients where they go on these amazing trips and have all these wonderful insights and listen to you, and yet action is not translating, or the, yes.
All right.
Okay.
In a sense, we understand what you mean by spiritual bypass. Now, technically, there's no such thing as bypassing what you agreed to experience on your life path.
Okay.
However, you can accelerate things. You can speed them up by tuning into certain spiritual concepts that allow you to function in a greater flow, to be more of yourself. And that's part of the lesson to learn as to how to experience the idea that you chose to experience on your life path. Quickly, more smoothly, or slowly, with more struggle, and so on and so forth. So it's about the idea of the speed, the scope, and things like that that you can change. It's not exactly a bypass.
Got it.
But it's learning a lesson that allows you to experience what you chose to experience in a more fluid and efficient way, to learn those lessons more fully, more quickly, so that you don't necessarily have to spend any more time than it is absolutely necessary, minimally, to spend as a physical process to allow you to experience the depth of appreciation and discovery and lesson that will allow your soul to grow. So yes, you can mitigate some of it, but you will never bypass anything. But that's what spiritual bypass actually is meant by. The idea of speeding things up, learning things more quickly, recognizing the signs more quickly, sooner, that you can act on more positively, more directly, and so on and so forth. Does that help?
It helps. However, I feel like when I mean spiritual bypassing, yes, and that was all great, but the knowledge is not translating into action for some of the people that I'm working with.
Yes,
what
that's
is it?
true,
is it
and
the
you
beliefs?
can't force them to do it.
Oh, absolutely. I've already given up on that idea. But what is it that's creating that gap, essentially?
Fear.
Okay.
Remember, it's love or it's fear.
Got it.
And the idea is that positive and negative is generally associated with the idea of love and fear. So in their belief systems, they're holding on to things and not taking action because they have in their motivational mechanism a belief that says that if they do take that action, they believe something worse will happen than where they are now. As uncomfortable as it may be, it feels safer than the alternative because they're defining the alternative as being worse or more dangerous or scarier.
Got it. So redefine what...
They have to look at their motivational mechanism about why they're holding on to what they're holding on to, because you don't hold on to anything you don't believe serves you. So even if it's something that you intellectually know doesn't serve you, you will still hold on to it if it's the safer alternative to what you believe would happen if you changed.
Okay.
Because you always go to what you believe serves you. You always move away from what you believe does not. Always, without fail. So the moment you see somebody holding on to something you know doesn't serve them, you know that that means they have a belief the alternative is worse. You have to find out why they would believe that and allow them to see the nonsensical attitude they have about that, or how they have learned to see that thing being so blown out of proportion that they can't understand it logically in any way, shape, or form that would allow them to move forward.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
I'll keep probing then.
Oh, all right.
For some who will allow that, of course.
But again, of course, there is the overall caveat that no matter what you share with them, what they do with it is none of your business.
None of my business, yeah. I was so attached to the results initially, and that was so exhausting. I'm like, I just do what I can, and if they match that vibration,
that's all you can
that's
do.
it. Yeah.
That's how you help, is you give them the option, to make a choice.
Yes.
But you cannot tell them what to do, because really, you don't know what their life path is, and you don't know what they do and don't need to learn in this life.
Very true, very true.
And remember, you're eternal infinite spirits. What's your hurry?
Right? Very good point. 2 more questions. One is about, could you tell us about the core wounds that humans grow up with? And this is that fear of abandonment.
About the what?
they're called core wounds. So the fear of abandonment is one that, like, just these conditionings essentially. But there's abandonment, there's the lack of self-love or the feeling of unworthiness.
Yes.
There seems to be a pattern that has been going on. Like, what created this? And how...
Forgetting who you are. Forgetting who you are. One of the tenets of allowing yourself to go through a physical earth cycle is the idea of cleaning the slate, forgetting who you are, and thus taking a journey to help you remember who you are from a new point of view. However, because of the depth of that experience in the earth cycle, you can forget who you are to the point of actually experiencing a simulation of disconnection from source. And that simulation of disconnection, of course, you're never actually disconnected, that's not possible. But the simulation of disconnection from source can seem so real that you actually don't feel your connection to source, and the lack of feeling of a connection to source translates in your reality as a lack of worthiness. You don't feel you're worthy to exist.
I see.
So that's where it came from, and the idea is, again, this is why it's a master graduating class, because you have the strength in your soul to even overcome that. And again, even if you don't in one particular lifetime, you always have another chance to do so if you really wish to. So again, it's something that souls choose because, hey, that could be a very powerful, transformational experience if I can remember that I deserve from completely forgetting that I deserve. And it's like going on a roller coaster ride and saying, well, all right, this time I sort of fell out of the roller coaster. But I'll do it again, and maybe next time I'll get the point, and I'll have the help and be open to the help that I receive to help me remember that I am worthy, I am deserving. But again, souls go through this because it's exciting and it's something that can really help you grow. The degree of limitation, again, this is why we call you the masters of limitation. The degree of limitation a soul imposes upon itself is inversely proportional to the degree to which the soul will expand if it overcomes that limitation. So you choose massive limitations because it's so exciting to imagine that if you overcome it, how fast you will expand and what lessons you will learn and how fast you will accelerate.
Story of my life. Like, my goodness. I love this. Thank you for that. And then the last question, okay, so it's what does Gen W and Gen Z need to know about each other to better relate to each other?
I think you will ask the generations about that and not us.
Okay. Sorry, girlie. Well, that's it. And thank you so much. I love you so much. Thank you.
You could start a panel of those generations and have them start talking to each other.
Hello, Tadeo.
Nania, is it time for your holotope meditation?
It certainly is.
All right. Then we will disconnect momentarily and resume transmission to take you through your holotope meditation. Thank you.